ॐ भूर्भुवः स्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात्। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहैः। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पाद शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। ॐ त्वमेव माता च पिता त्वमेव बन्धुश्च सखा त्वमेव विद्या द्रविणं त्वमेव सर्वं मम देव देव। ओम गुरुदेव भगवान शिव शंकर भोलेनाथ कैलाशपति महाराज की जय। भगवान व्यास जी महाराज की जय। शंकराचार्य भगवान की जय। स्वामी चिन्मयानंद भगवान की जय। स्वामी दयानंद भगवान की जय। स्वामी प्रबुधानंद भगवान की जय। माता पिता की जय। सभी गुरु देवताओं की जय। सभी गुरु देवताओं की जय। सभी गुरु देवताओं की जय। श्री कृष्ण गोविंद हरे मुरारी हे नाथ नारायण वासुदेवा। ओम श्रीमद् भगवद गीता। We had completed chapter number 3 day before yesterday, and yesterday we had complete rest, and now we will begin with chapter number 4 of Srimad Bhagavad Gita. Chapter number 4 is about Gyan Karma Sannyas Yoga. Gyan Karma Sannyas Yoga. See, many people asks the question of getting liberation from all the karmas of their daily karmas, which people usually tend to get tired of doing karma, same karma, daily routine every day, earning money, competition and competition. Right from the day the child goes to school, the competition starts, competing. Nobody wants to attain freedom, knowledge. You're studying for competition, studying to earn money, studying because someone else is studying. That's why I am also studying. Because someone else is doing this karma, I am also doing this karma. Unknowingly, continuously doing karma, day after day, day after day. The only way for liberation, moksha, is Jnanam. Jnana is the only way for moksha. And for Jnana, Bhagavan says, you have to do same karmas, but with a attitude of doing karma for God. Prarthanatmak karma. Doing karma with the prarthana. When you do karma with prarthana, it becomes karma yoga. And when your karma becomes a karma yoga, you are bound for antakaran shuddhi. Slowly and steadily your mind gets purified. With prarthanatmak karma, having shraddha in God, that everything is from Ishvara, of Ishvara, doing same karma prarthanatmakly and getting your self antakaran shuddhi. With shuddha antakaran, there will be a jigyasa for jnana. And when this jigyasa comes for jnana, then you are bound to look into these shastras. Shastras are the only way. Even if you don't do karma, take sannyasa, then also you have to look into shastras. You have to look into Upanishads. You have to go through them. Only liberation is possible through shastras. Because Shastra is the only way. Shastra is the only way for liberation. Slowly and steadily, after going through Shastras, you get Jnana. You come to know about God. You come to know about awareness. You come to know what Shastras are saying. And then you get liberated. By understanding self, you get liberation. Liberation from what? Liberation from the bondage. Bondage, the error that I am the body. From this bondage you get liberated, and the ultimate liberation, get moksha. Moksha through jnana. Moksha is through jnana only. Whether you take sannyasa or keep on doing your karmas, but doing karma, taking sannyasa, by taking sannyasa, you stop doing karma. This is what we have done in chapter 2, 3. We have been seeing all these things. This is what God says. Lord Krishna says this. In the very beginning, the very first 3 verses of the 4 chapters, Krishna will sum up the subject matter of karma yoga by indicating to Arjuna that it is not something new. Krishna as the Lord had initiated it in the beginning of creation. All this Shastra, all these Vedas, they were created in the beginning as simultaneously. And since then, Karma Yoga has been handed down from generations to generation. Even though it has not always been well preserved. The Shastra is not well preserved. That's why we are lacking. Nobody understands Shastras clearly. Because many parts have been lost. But then also,
Whatever is available is enough to study and to understand. All these Shastras are not written by any individual. They are not said by any individual. Only Lord Himself, Ishwar Himself have created these simultaneously. And then from generation to generation it has been passed. From one generation to another generation and then another generation. It has been continuously coming down. And to our generation, it is our duty to pass on this Shastra to next generation. In the difficult time of these COVID, it is better to get into Shastras. Instead of getting into depressions, get into Shastras. Instead of getting into negativity, get into the positivity of Shastras. Shastra is the only positive. It gives the attitude of doing, attitude of learning, attitude of receiving Gyan, attitude of praying. This attitude of positivity will definitely bring in the changes. And this Shastra is coming from generation to generation, created by no one, no individual. It is created by God, Ishvara Himself. Ishvara says to become a sannyasi requires a mature, contemplative disposition. You cannot simply decide to be mature or contemplative. Either you are or you are not. What you can do, however, is to live in such a way that you can gain contemplation, contemplative disposition. This is Karma Yoga. In order to gain self-knowledge, which is moksha, liberation, you have to recognize your nature as being free from action, as that which is very center of the entire creation, the reality of everything. What is the reality of everything? Your own nature, your own awareness, your own self is the center of creation. For this recognition to take place, you can live a life of sannyasi or a life of karma yoga. Karma yoga is engaging yourself in activities with the proper attitude. Pravritti Lakshana Yoga. Pravritti Lakshana Yoga. Proper attitude. And sannyasa or Jnana Yoga is the renunciation of all activities, leaving all activities. Nivritti Lakshana Sannyasa. So Nivritti Lakshana Sannyasa, Nivritti Lakshana and Jnana Yoga. Nivritti Lakshana Jnana Yoga is for the sannyasis, and Pravritti Lakshana Yoga is for Karma Yogi. Karma Yoga is for everyone else. Those who are sannyasis, for them Nivritti Lakshana Yoga or Jnana Yoga, they have to go to Jnana. They have to leave everything aside and study. Study and attain Jnana. By attaining Jnana, you get liberated. And for everyone else, for people like us, it is Pravritti Lakshan Yoga or Karma Yoga. This twofold yoga is intended to be unfolded throughout the Gita. In fact, Krishna had already completed the teaching in the second and third chapter. The entire teaching of Gita is completed in second and third chapter. That was enough. Knowing that he had taught all that he had to be taught, Krishna now praises this yoga, telling Arjun that what he had taught him was something very old, introduced by himself as Ishvara in the very beginning, meaning in the form of Vedas. From teacher to student sampradaya, in order to convey that this knowledge is something that is to be gained from teacher by a student, who in turn hands it down to another student, a story is told. See, Jnana as Jnana came down from generation to generation, and in that some of the great sages attached stories also to make it easier to understand. In understanding realities, it really doesn't matter who told whom. Nevertheless, certain names are mentioned. We also mention every day, we mention right from Lord Shiva. Lord, we Ishvara named Shiva, and then from Shiva to others, slow Veda Vyasa in center, and then comes a Shankaracharya ji, then comes our own, the great Chinmayananda ji, and then the greatest Dayananda Saraswati of Ashavidya Mandir Rishikesh, and then our own teacher, a greatest teacher of Vedanta, Swami Prabodhananda Saraswati, and then our own mother and father, who have brought us into all this beautiful text, who brought us closer to the beautiful text. Now it is our own duty to study this thoroughly with absolute clear mind. The flow downward from one generation to another is called sampradaya. The sampradaya is important because this teaching has to be handled by someone who knows what it is all about. Cannot be given to anyone. Therefore, the sampradaya is always introduced either in the beginning or at the end of the text. In verse number 1 to 3, Krishna presents the sampradaya and praises this knowledge. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha. What does he Uvacha? Imam vivasvete yogam proktavan aham avyayam vivit swanmanve praha manu ikshvakyave abravit. Imam vivasvate yogam proktavan aham avyayam vivasvanamanve praha manu ikshvakave abravit. Evam parampara praptam imam rajarishyah viduhu sahakalena iha mahta yoga nashta parantapa. Second verse, first and second verse of chapter number 4. Aham Shri Bhagavan Uvach. Shri Bhagavan, Ishvara himself says, Aham, I gave this to Vivaswana. Vivaswana means sun. Imam, this. Avyayam, imperishable. This Gyan cannot be perished because it is not someone's, it is not something different. It is imperishable. Yogam, yoga. Purvatvan, puroktavan, thought. Vivaswan, Vivaswan manave, to Vivaswan to manave, Manu. Manave Manu. Vivaswan's son, Manu. Pratha, thought. Manu. Ishwake, Ishwaku. Manu to Ishwaku. Taught evam, in this way. Parampara praptam, handed down from generation to generation. Imam, this Rajarashya, the kings who were sages. Earlier, kings used to be the sages. Kings used to be sages, knowledgeable. The great kings. Viduhu knew. Paranatapa, Arjun, the shooter of foes. Iha, in this world. Saha, that. Yoga, yoga. Mahata Kalen, with the long lapse of time. Nashta, has declined. Shri Bhagwan says, I taught this imperishable yoga to Vivaswana. Vivaswana taught it to Manu, and Manu taught it to Ikshwaku. Handed down from generation to generation in this long lapse of time, Arjuna, the shooter of foes, this yoga has declined in the world. See, if we don't give this knowledge, if this Shastra to our children, how will they come to know? How will it proceed from generation, next generation, and to the next generation? It is our duty to first understand clearly and have Shraddha in this. Because only this is the only way for moksha. There is no other way. There is no other way than getting into Shastras to reach moksha. Here Krishna tells Arjuna that he was the one who had introduced this knowledge in the Vedas in the beginning itself, along with the creation. Along with the creation, this knowledge came. This knowledge is about creation. This knowledge is to understand creation. So it has to come along with the creation. Through Vivaswana, the head of the solar clan. Solar clan means Surya Vansha. Vivaswana was head of the solar clan. What is solar clan? Surya Vansh. There is also another clan, the lunar clan, Chandra Vansham. The Mahabharata was an epic about the lunar clan. And the Ramayana was under the solar clan, about the solar Surya Vanshi. Vivaswana also is name given to the sun as a deity of the Lord Sun. Krishna is saying here that this knowledge has come down from Ishvara alone, no one else. Directly from Ishvara. Referring himself as Lord. Here God clearly says, I, Aham. It is not something that is created by a given intellect, nor is it mere speculation. It is not a speculation. It is knowledge that comes down from Ishvara along with the creation itself. The difference between this knowledge and other revealed bodies of knowledge is that it is something to be recognized. It is knowledge that I am the whole. Any other form of revelation requires you to believe something. Some kind of a promise is always given with reference to an afterlife. However, in this knowledge, I am whole, there is no promise involved. Because this life or other lives, they come into whole. And I am that whole. None other than me is the whole. So understanding myself, the self-awareness as whole, there is no previous, nothing is left to know as previous life or afterlife or before life or any other lives. When you understand the whole, the statement Tat Tat Tvamasi, you are that, it is not a promise. That you are Brahman is the simplest statement of fact. Just as statement, water is H2O and it boils at 100 degrees at atmospheric pressure, is a fact, not a promise. You are Brahman is a statement of fact and is something that is to be understood. And this understanding is only through Shastras. And when you understand, you get knowledge. And then the knowledge liberates you. Shastras also don't liberate you. Shastras are the medium to understand. Knowledge liberates you and you attain moksha. There is nothing special going to you attain moksha. Not through words. This is not in words. Moksha cannot be explained in any word. Moksha is just a word given to something, but when you achieve knowledge, what happens is that is just a word. It is the moksha itself is nothing. It's a word. But that knowledge, a statement of fact is verifiable knowledge. It is not something to be believed like in other forms to be revealed bodies of knowledge. We must know, however, that these other revelations are also talking about the same reality. Thus there is no problem. It is the Lord's knowledge. Because knowledge is not something that belongs to any one particular person or culture. We say that is Ishvara's knowledge. Vedas are clearly Ishvara's knowledge. We clearly say it. It is not by any individual. It is by Ishvara himself. This twofold yoga, sannyasa and karma yoga, was initiated by Lord Krishna himself in the beginning through Vivasvana, the head of the solar clan. Therefore he says, Vivaste aham proktavan. Lord Sun is introduced here to convey the idea that this particular knowledge comes from Ishvara. Then by the grace of Lord Sun, it was handed over to his son Manu, who was the first king and lawgiver for humanity. Manu further taught his own son Ikshvaku in turn. See, nowhere it is claimed, very clearly understand, nowhere it is claimed by any sage that this is written by me. He might have, some sages might have written, translated or described it, व्याख्या किया है, can be done. But we have to understand knowledge as it is. You cannot change the sentence tat tat tvam asi. It is to be understood as it is. There is no way of, I can just give few examples how to understand this sentence, how to understand tat tat tvam asi, but I cannot change this sentence. I cannot change the Gyan. I cannot. No one in the series of Guru Shishya's Sampradaya has changed. They may have described it with different examples. Different schools have come up with different forms of understanding. But you have to understand same thing. No one can change this sentence. No one can change the Swarupa, the awareness, to understand it as it is. And it has to be taught as it is. Maybe some examples here or there can be taken, but then you have to understand it as it is, and it has to be explained as it is. Self-knowledge does not go away. It does not go away anywhere. Self-knowledge is always with you. Understand it. You know, you have the knowledge. Just have to understand it. Understanding it through Shabda. These Shabdas in Shastras. Shastras explain. Shastras give examples, give reason, how, why, when, where. This is all explained by Shastras. What kind of yoga knowledge is it? This knowledge is Avyaya Yoga, because it gives you that which does not die, meaning moksha. It makes you understand that there is nothing to die. It teaches you, it gives you moksha, liberation. Moksha does not go away because it is identical with the Atma, which is eternal. It is knowledge of the Atma. Moksha gained is gained forever. In his commentary on these words, Shankaracharya ji says that moksha, the result of this yoga, is in form of clear vision of the Atma, Samyog Darshan Nishtha, for which there is no death, Vyasa at all, Vyaya at all. Once the knowledge is gained, it is gained. Moksha is not something from which you can come back, like the experience of Nirvikalpa Samadhi, because with this knowledge, the Jivatvam, the notion of being a limited individual, is destroyed. How will you come back from moksha? No, not possible. If truly understood. If only words are understood, if only words are taken, you will come back from that word. Oh, वहाँ मोक्ष नहीं, शब्दों में मोक्ष नहीं है. शब्द मोक्ष तक ले जाते हैं, मोक्ष के बारे में बताते हैं. Once gained, there is no coming back, which is why the knowledge is Avyaya. In the second verse, addressing Arjuna as Paranatapa, the destroyer of enemies, Krishna says, in this way the knowledge has been coming down from the families of kings as well as through the families of sages, rishis. So there are two types of flow through which this knowledge is transmitted from one generation to another. Because of this knowledge alone, Shankaracharya ji says that kings like Janaka were able to perform their duties well without abusing the royal powers entrusted to them. Powers and understanding. Power and understanding should go together along with certain contentment. The more powerful a person is, the more informed he or she should be. Otherwise, those who come within him, his or her realm, had it. Thus, this knowledge was introduced by Ishvara to give the kings the strength, Bala Adhanaya, indeed to rule the world properly. There being no greater strength than Atma Bal, the strength of understanding oneself. See how great this is. Even the kings were given, the sannyasis were given. Kings also kept on doing their duties, like King Raja Janak. He kept on doing his duties without abusing the royal powers, and he was a knowledgeable person. Not only the heads of royal family had this knowledge and passed it down from father to son, the sages living in the forest also had it. They taught it to their students, who in turn taught it to their students throughout the generation. Krishna could see the wonder in Arjuna's eye as he was unfolding this knowledge to him. It was through Arjuna was asking, it was as though Arjuna was asking, how is it that I did not know this before? Why did I not receive this knowledge while I was growing up? I was taught archery. I was taught what is right and wrong, but this I was not taught. Why? Even today, children are taught everything, all mathematics, all economics, everything is taught except this knowledge. When a person hears this knowledge for the first time, he or she often expresses the same wonder. How could I have missed something so obvious? Even I wonder. Although great sages like Vyasa and Shukracharya ji lived in Arjuna's time, this knowledge that Krishna had given to Arjuna was not readily available, since only few people knew it. It is really very difficult to find a right teacher for this knowledge. It was as though lost. Today it is completely lost. Only few teachers like Swami Prabodhanandaji, the great scholar. People were busy with many things. Today, many more things. The Duryodhana of the world were too numerous, and people had no time for knowledge. Though this knowledge sounded new and strange to Arjuna, Krishna tells him it has been around since the beginning, the same good old wisdom, and I am merely presenting it to you today as it has always been. It seems strange to you only because you have not yet had the occasion to listen to it. And we have this occasion, this period of COVID, when you are at home. And even when you are not at home doing work, please find some time for this. Please do find time for knowledge, attaining this knowledge. This is absolute necessary. Until and unless you study Upanishad or Gita or Ramayana, how will you know it? If somebody will criticize, you will also criticize with him, because you don't know the actuality. Mere studying some stories here and there and listening here and there is not enough. Please understand, this is not an incomplete knowledge. This is a complete knowledge. Hearing small stories here and hearing some stories there and then you criticize because incomplete knowledge you have. Therefore, please find time from all the duties. We understand, very rigorous, very difficult to find time. At least 1 or 2 hours in a week, at least 2 hours of thorough study of Gita is required. Thorough study, not like 2 shlokas from here, 2 shlokas there, किसी ऋषि से सुन लिया, किसी साधु से सुन लिया, and not even understanding completely what he is trying to teach. It requires continuous studies. If you had studied mathematics like this, then what? Was it possible to do what you are doing today? If you had taken up some English words from here, some English words from there, or some economical theorems from here, some from there, some from England, America, and not understanding it completely. It is like that. It took you 12 years, or rather 16 years, maybe 18, 12 years to just get out of the school, and then 3 more to get out from the college, and then doing some professional degree to just earn some money. That is the labor you have input for earning money, and you don't want to invest anything to get moksha. Start studying now. You will understand what you are doing. There is nowhere it is written that you don't have to do that. You have to do that also to earn money. What is the importance and how much is to be earned? How hard you have to work there? Everything you will learn from here only. Krishna anticipates that Arjuna's next question would be, why did you choose to teach me today and not before? Therefore, he says in his next verse, which we will do tomorrow, till then, please try to think that if just to earn some money you had to study so much, you had to invest so much of time, energy, just to earn money, some money, which is very small. Please understand, whatever amount you earn is just this much, because someone else has this much, and who has this much has to compete with this one. So every day what you are earning is just little. But when you study this, you will understand the wholeness, Purnam. And it will take time. Just reading mere few shlokas, few stories is not going to get you the desired results. Even what you are doing is not getting you the desired results. Please understand, whatever you have studied till now for earning money is not going to get you your desired result. Tell me if you have attained your desired result. Even Mr. Mukesh Ambani has not earned his desired result. Whatever you have studied is just mere some money. That's it. Do you think it is enough? You have to study this. If you will study this, then only you will give this to your children. And that is how this sampradaya will continue. In all cases, whether you study now or later, or maybe some lives later, you will have to come to Shastra only. Shastra is the only way forward. Earning money is stagnation. Stagnated. You are stagnated in earning money, that's it. Entire life. Wasting this human form. You don't know how many forms it will take to get another human form. And where you will understand, I don't know whether in that life will you understand or not. Again you will be into the same process. This is the only form in which you can attain knowledge. Don't waste it. And this is the only way towards marching forward. This is where, this is the only country, India, where Shastras are still studied, at least respected. And I pursue, please study. Studying Shastra is the only way to Ananda, happiness. If fulfillment of desires got you happiness, then you would have, because every day you fulfill some desire or other desire, but you don't get happy completely. You might get happiness for some time, but again there is some other desire which crops up from somewhere in the heart. This is required. So please find time, find at least 1 or 2 hours. If not possible every day, then every week. There are 4 Sundays, 4 Saturdays. Work for 5 days or 6 days. Okay, work all 7 days, but give at least 2 to 3 hours, 2 hours, 3 hours for this. Give some time for your body also. Work out, go walking, exercise, because this body is required. Healthy body is required. बूढ़ा होने के बाद जब आंखों में दम ताकत नहीं रहेगी देखने की, तो हम देखेंगे क्या, पढ़ेंगे कैसे, कान सुन नहीं सकेंगे, ऊंचा बोलना पड़ेंगे, समझ कम हो जाएगी. आफ्टर 60 सब कुछ धीरे धीरे कम हो जाएगा. प्लीज अंडरस्टैंड. टाइम इट right now. Don't delay in this. Don't delay in your regular exercises for body. Don't delay in studying required for your mind purification. Keep doing your karmas with prarthanatmak attitude so that your mind is purified to receive this. Please, with both folded hands, I request you all to start studying what Shastra says. Because all will criticize, others are criticizing, and you also join them because you don't know. They don't study, they are not going to study. You are going to study. You have to study. You should study. And if you find a flaw in this, then criticize. Without studying, at least Hindu, being in a Hindu, born in the Hindu family, don't criticize Shastras unknowingly, without knowing, without studying. Beautiful text we have. Right from today, please start studying. At least study Ramayana or Gita. If not the difficult Shastras, not Brahma Sutras. See, after 27 years of rigorous study, I have come to understand this. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudashyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Tat Sat.